know I try to be a good man. I always give it my best. But truth be told, someday I wanna go to the wild, wild west.
And now, live from our Smokehouse studio, it's time for Real Estate Jerky. All your real estate questions answered by our provocatively lean expert host, Ed Parcaut, MBA, veteran, and president of Lending for Living. And today's special expert guest, real estate advice you won't find anywhere else. Plenty to chew on, starting now.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here with my special guest, Chad Kennedy. He is the Director of Landscape Architecture at Odell Engineering and co-founding board member of the Awesome Spot Playground. And I'm with Rachel Loredo, correct? Co-owner of Throttle Motorcycle Shop. Is that Modesto? Salida, okay. Mm-hmm. And founder of also the Awesome Spot Playground. Rachel and Chad, thank you so much for coming in today. Sorry, a little slow today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us here.
I appreciate it. Before we get into everything else, everybody asks, why do we have other things on here besides real estate and financing stuff? And it's all about the community to me. You know, when you move somewhere and when you buy a home or you finance, it's all about where you live in the community, and that's why we have other things on than just knowledge-based stuff. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what is, for someone who doesn't know what the Awesome Spot Playground is, what is it? Either one.
I'll go.
So I don't really stay on script.
That's fine.
So
we are working on an inclusive playground. That's what the Awesome Spot Playground is. It's an inclusive playground where children and adults of all abilities can come together and play and access a playground without any barriers. And we are planning it for Bayer Community Park. Okay. It's in the northeast area of Modesto.
Mm-hmm. Anything to add there, Chad?
Yeah, just that this type of a playground is something that's very rare. Nothing like that in the region. It'll be the first type of project like this between Sacramento and Fresno for us. So it's a really big deal for the community.
So from my understanding, it hasn't started yet. It hasn't been built yet, correct?
It has not been built yet, no.
Okay. And what phase are we in right now? Funding, what?
We're just about done with the design and just basically waiting on the funding to be able to break ground.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you were saying that this is the only one in this that's around here, right? Besides, there's one in Sacramento, somewhere else?
There's one in Salinas called Tatum's Garden. The one that inspired me is in Palo Alto. It's called the Magical Bridge. That's the playground that we visited with my son Tommy. And it just was an eye-opener for me that there was even a playground like that could be built, which is what inspired me to bring something like that to Modesto, where we're living and raising our family with him.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's still about a 2-hour drive to the closest one, like ours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know we'll get into a lot more of this later, but basically, what's the plan? How long is this process going to take? How long you guys been doing this process? Because I'm just being honest with you, this is the first I've heard about it. So.
Yeah. So we visited the Magical Bridge in 2015. And a few months later is when I approached the city of Modesto, the Parks and Rec Department, and let them know that this was my dream to have something like this in the valley. And so that spring, I think, is when we really started getting started with the project and getting it out to the community. And that's when Chad and I connected, and our partner, Kelly Gloria, she's not here. But 2016 is about when we really started getting the ball rolling with the project. We've been at it for a few years now.
It sounds that way.
Yeah.
And basically, so you had it designed. Is that where you came in, Chad?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. And you designed it at Odell Engineering, or where'd you design that at?
Yeah, so it's actually a much more collaborative approach.
I'm just I have no idea.
So we have nonprofit organization that's tied to us, and we also have a design team that have all stepped up and provided their level of service to the project on a pro bono basis. So the entire design has been done for free, which is a huge effort. And so we have other companies in town that are helping with that. Miller Brazzoni Associates and
that's okay. He'll come to you. Just keep moving. It's like the Oscars. They always forget somebody, and then they always tell them later.
Crawford and Associates
Okay.
did the geotechnical engineering, and Kaplan Associates helped us with the structural engineering of the project.
So, and now, if I remember right from the beginning, it's over by Bayer.
Yes.
So, where exactly is that? Close to Bayer High School? Where is it over?
Yeah, so there's Bayer Community Park is connected, or it's right next to Bayer High School. The playground will be on the north side of that park area, kind of behind the softball fields.
And how many square feet? I mean, how big is this?
It's pretty
For
big.
our listeners who can't see,
It's about an acre.
about
Yeah.
an acre. Wow,
Yeah.
an acre's pretty big for a playground.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the goals here at Real Estate Jerky is to have our listeners know about what's going on in the community, so that they know where if they're purchasing or they're buying something, they know where they're living and how important that is for us. So, we still have a lot of time. So let's break down understanding of the landscape and how certain things like that will increase value or make it more beneficial for people to move to the area, because there's not something like that now, right?
Yeah.
And from what I understand, this is all levels of children,
Yes.
right?
So it's for the elderly, it's for children that might have physical disabilities. We've also integrated tons of, pieces into the park that are good for children that might be on the autism spectrum. Chad's really knowledgeable about all of the fine-tuned pieces in the playground that we put in there for children with sensory processing disorders. What else, Chad? You're so good at explaining that part of it.
It really gets could get into the weeds with this, but it's really about families and the ability to have people come together, whether it's caretakers, siblings, grandparents, whoever it is that's involved in the family. They can all come to a play space and engage in recreation without the barriers that typically are associated with playgrounds and recreational spaces. So each of the playground components and each of the spaces has been very meticulously designed to address sensory processing disorders or issues that children on the autism spectrum are dealing with, or just typical physical barriers.
So let's go back for somebody who doesn't understand autism barriers. What is that? Most listeners aren't going to understand what that means or sensory. Can we go in a little bit more of that?
Sure, absolutely.
Because you're the design person, right? Or
Sure.
help with that. So why don't we break down each component so people can understand?
Sure. I think everybody understands physical limitations,
Correct.
where wheelchairs and,
Right.
and walkers and things like that, and ambulatory devices. But what we don't typically think about is the things that we don't see. So cognitive disabilities, do you know where you are in that space? Can you actually understand where your arms and your legs are? Some people don't have that ability to understand very well. Sensory overload is not just a temper tantrum. There are reasons behind this. And so how are we addressing the outdoor environment to mitigate those issues that people are struggling with every day that they are trying to avoid when they go into the outdoor environment?
Yeah, so a lot of people know I have a daughter with special needs, and when we take her to, she loved fish aquarium, but when we took her to Monterey Aquarium, the noise level, everything around that was just too much for her. She wanted
Sure.
out of there faster than anything else, and a lot of people don't understand that who don't come to the side or understand that kind of stuff, correct?
Definitely. You definitely don't understand it until you're in it
Right, yeah.
fully, fully understand.
Well,
it.
that's how anything is in this world, right?
Yeah.
Got about a minute before we go to break. Anything you want to add for the next 30 seconds? I'm not real pressure. We can just come back to it. We can add it to the end. I'm just rereading, making sure. So we'll hear. Let's go a little early, and we'll pick this up when we come back. Okay. All right. Hey, we're going to take a break. Listen to our sponsors, and we'll talk to you when we get back. I'm sorry. I'm a little out of it today. I had my wife's first dog died. Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The conversation going. I was just like, what else could I say?
Mention wheelchairs.
Yeah, everything.
Oh yeah.
You
I thought I was gonna get into Tommy's stuff more.
You will.
can do
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Well.
but there's a script, but it doesn't have to happen exactly at that time.
Okay.
Only if you're me, then it does.
What I'm getting at, that we can have a flow and it can be brought in any other time.
Yeah.
She just broke it down so that each section had something. But you can
Okay.
get in something early and then we have other stuff we can come back to because
For
there's a
sure.
whole bunch of stuff. It's just how it flows in the conversation. So be open to add whatever
Definitely,
you want.
and
Okay.
refer to the website a lot. If you want to see a visual, that we go to awesomespotplayground.com. Although, I was having trouble with my browser, and I don't know if it was just my browser the other day, getting it to come up. Mm-hmm.
The virtual one?
Mm-hmm. No, just the spot, the
website?
Yeah, if I went over to Google, let's see. You can try it on here, which I did not do yet. Hello, that helps if I can spell.
It's there. I was like, I know we paid the hosting.
Oh, no, it's there. And when I went over to Google it,
See, I
Came up
can't
fine
even
for
find
me.
that picture anymore. None of these pictures. They're all
The other
gone.
one, I don't have the high res vision photo, I just had the lower resolution photo, and that's why I was like,
The one I sent you, is that one better?
it's a little bit better. It's a little
See, I
bit
don't
better.
even remember if I took them from my camera or my phone.
and the other thing I didn't do is what events are coming up for you
I
guys.
don't really have anything, do we?
But we can tell them we're planning an event for October.
And then you have Ugly Green in October, October 20th. The
Yeah.
recycling
That's
event,
That's the only one
ongoing.
I have for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, just be sure and touch on that. That's ongoing all the time. If anybody'd like to donate the recycling on a regular basis, we can get you a cool little blue can that sits in your business, and all of the recycling would go to benefit Awesome Spot and is matched by O'Brien's Market.
Is that the commercial?
Huh?
You should be sitting here.
I know, why aren't you in on
No,
this with
no, no. I am the wizard.
She's only in here for card.
Yeah,
That's the only
cards.
time she talks.
It was because it was a graffiti weekend, and I wanted to make sure that Ed talked about the fact that he did do it in the front seat of his pickup.
What are you gonna say?
And he did. I did get him to, although I was speechless because I didn't think I would. I kept thinking about all those little farts that are out there with their cars listening, going, wow, he did just say that. Brent Burnside said, you're so bad. I go, no, I was not trying to be bad. I really wasn't. I really wasn't. He goes, yeah, and then you couldn't take it when you got it, could you? And I said, no, I really
the shock
couldn't.
value.
Anyway, okay, so yeah, the Awesome Spot Playground looks good. There's all the virtual stuff. Yeah, this is beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, so direct them there is another good thing. And Chad's TEDx thing was awesome. I
Yeah.
forgot how awesome that was.
Did you like that?
I did, because you talk about how parks, and that's the thing that really ties together with Real Estate Jerky and what we're doing here today. Think about buying a home where there isn't a park within 2 to 3 blocks. Most city dwellers won't. They won't. They won't even consider it. If they have a family, they're looking for a park within a walking.
Somewhere to go.
Right. So this one is going to be stupendous.
Who owns it?
Yes.
The city.
City of Modesto. And you can talk about the park. We
The
get
reason
into
I'm
that.
saying that is one of the reasons a lot of cities are giving the parks back to the neighborhoods, is so they can keep people keep things out
Yes,
of there.
and that
They
was-
can't-
and that was-
They can put laws that there's no tent camping in a park that's owned by the neighborhood,
Oh.
to keep things out and other people out of the neighborhoods that you might not want in the park.
Yeah. What
Right
we
now,
have-
with the public, there is no teeth.
what-
They can do whatever they
but
want.
what we have found with the Park
I'm not
Partner
gonna say that
Program,
online. So.
but what we have found with the Park Partner Program, Ed, is that when the neighborhood is involved, like they are with these Park Partner Programs that we've done already, Virginia Corridor is a good example. That was our first one with Rotary. That was the one that we created a Park Partner Program. The structure didn't even exist within the city. You couldn't do in-kind. You couldn't bring other contractors on. Couldn't do any of it. So when we did the Virginia Corridor, we created the environment. And then what we found is the neighborhoods will take care of it, and they will make sure that there's a homeless, and they will call the cops and all that stuff. What?
Get on that mic.
Oh, no.
Because you know everything about the parks.
Yes,
is what
you
I'm
know
getting
the
at.
I don't. Chad knows all
The
this.
park partner
Because
program.
that's how I met
I
Chad.
was like, I don't.
That's how
know
I
much
met. That
about
is how I met Chad. How many years ago now?
A lot.
You were a punk. You were a punk. I was telling his kids at Opie Green, I can't stand it. You're all big. How did this happen?
My baby.
He didn't even have kids when I met him.
Really?
Yeah.
All three of them.
Yeah, now he has
Just
3 of
have
them.
one.
And I've seen each one of them as like little bitty scrunchkins, and now they're like,
Aww.
but yeah. It's just cool. It's totally cool. And to see that we've done, and this, this is my swan song, just to let you know, but this is like the major, totally coolest. I mean, the corridor is too.
It's gotten bigger.
The corridor is too. Whenever I walk it or ride it with the kids, when we were getting ready for Ride for Mom.
And then she's going to get on the mic. All right, you ready? All right, so I'm going to ask you when we come back.
12 minutes on this one.
Give me one more second. I'm going to ask you about, are parks important in the neighborhood? And what's the difference with this one? We need to add that back in what she just said, because we haven't talked anything about that.
Right.
She's
How it
talking
ties
about
in
how
with real
important is
estate.
parks for a neighborhood, and what does it do for a neighborhood. Any of that kind of stuff would be fine when we come back. Okay, and then we can get into what she talked about, the park, that one, how when people get involved in a neighborhood, in a park that's being created, how it changes things. Well, you just gotta
Yeah.
right? And talk slow, because it's 12 minutes this time. It takes longer, right?
Okay.
So if you ask a question or if you say something, just give it a second to think and then answer it. It just gives you more time.
Okay.
You follow me? And the problem is we got listeners who can't see anything, so you got to paint a picture, if possible. So as you're talking about something, you can say, all right, they're going to have these types of, and it looks like this, and explain it with words. You follow me? A little bit more. And then say, if you want to follow along, you can just go to our website, blah, 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 and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Are you following me there?
Yeah.
Okay. Just explain it to them. All right?
Okay. Your prompts are important.
I know, it's just a little bit hard. The problem is today is the way it's not, it's a little bit different of her flow than normal. I mean, normally she has ask this question. She broke down by be fair design so all kids can be included, be smart. You know what that is. That's your guys', your 7 principles, right?
Right.
We need to say what those are. It's not just for me to read them to you.
Right.
You follow me? So it says, so I'm going to bring us back in, and then I'm going to ask about how, from what I understand, parks are very important in a neighborhood. How's this different? How's this involved with are the neighbors involved? Like, whatever that is, we'll just go from there. All right.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
All right. And don't just jump in. Don't stay back. Just there's nothing that you can say that won't be right. So just jump in there, start talking. And if you want to add after what she said, jump right in and add more. Okay. You good?
Okay.
People think it's easy to be on radio. It's not.
No way. No way.
I've been doing this almost a year, and it's like, I still mess up in the beginning. Like, I had this one thing I wanted to write and bring in today, but it just didn't flow right. So it's like I just went off of her stuff. And I couldn't find my place. As you can see, I'm not color coordinated today because our new copier we got isn't set up somehow, and now it won't print color. So it's hard to follow exactly where I'm supposed to be. That's my excuse anyway. And I'm sticking with it.
We did a live radio with Tommy, and they asked him what his favorite piece of equipment was in the park, and he said monkey bars. And we
He's
don't have
never
monkey
said that
bars.
before.
And we've never even talked about it. So we were like, oh.
So it's like
So not being live is nice.
I love turtles. You ever see that commercial? They're asking a kid about a playground, and he's like, I love turtles. That's all he said. They replayed that video clip on the news, on everything. That poor kid.
You just never know what you're going to get.
You never live
from
it
them.
down. Yeah. Let's see here. All right. All right, we'll try this again. All right, ready?
Long-lasting Real Estate Jerky is back on Power Talk 1360 KFIV.
We're back. For those of you just turning in, I'm Ed Parcaut, mortgage advisor with Lending for Living, and your host, along with my guest, Chad Kennedy. He is the Director of Landscape Architecture of Odell Engineering and co-founding board member of the Awesome Spot Playground. And I'm also here with Rachel Loredo, co-owner of Full Throttle Motorcycle Shop and founder of Awesome Spot Playground. Thanks for coming back, you guys. Thanks for being here again. Before the break, we were talking about a few different things about parks and how the neighborhood might be getting involved. Chad, what's important about a park for a neighborhood? I mean, for me, I know it adds value because that gives a place for everybody to come together. Are the neighbors involved with this Awesome Spot that's coming in?
Yeah, we have. Well, we do have a group of people. It's Byra Sylvan Lakes. What is their group called? Byra Community at Sylvan Lakes. Well, it's like a group of people that live in the direct neighborhood. They've been really involved, interested in the project. They gather up all their recycle to help us towards our OB Green recycling program. So they've been pretty involved since learning about the project, and they all live, right there in the neighborhood. And so they're super excited to see something like this coming to their neighborhood.
Now, is it a park right now? Is it just grass, or is there anything at all?
It's an existing park right now, Byra Park, and an unused portion of the park that we are revamping to be a playground.
So they'll like it because you're updating it and adding more to it than just what was there,
right?
Because that park's probably a little bit older, right?
It is. It's a fairly old park, and we going back just a little bit in time. We've come a long ways in society. Public access to parks has not always been the norm.
Right.
So about 1857 is when parks really started to become a thing for public access. Frederick Law Olmsted was the original landscape architect, kind of the founder of landscape architecture, and he brought this idea to the forefront that people could actually access parks and be able to use those spaces to get away from the normal components of daily life. There's rigors of daily life that we all deal with, work and family and all those things around us. So this isn't something that's been around for a long time, and the value that society has placed on open space and recreation has really been profound in the last 200 years. And it doesn't stop at the societal benefits. It also increases the value of the land for your homes and whatnot in the area, or commercial in the area. And we kind of think that this project is a catalyst, if you will, for that area. It's going to be a regional draw, and so the value to the community with commercial and restaurants and all of those, even the hospitality industry and the hospitals and whatnot in the area are going to benefit from having this park here, because there's nothing like this in a huge area. So everyone's going to be coming to Modesto. Everyone's going to be bringing their families here because it's the only space to come where the whole family can participate in an activity. And when they're coming from 50 miles away or 100 miles away, they're not going to go directly home. They're going to spend time here in Modesto. They're going to spend time eating lunch or dinner and visiting other places here in Modesto. So, it has huge value to the community outside of just being a playground for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel, you mentioned Be Green. So for those who don't understand.
Yeah, so OB Green is a recycling program through Park Partners with the City of Modesto. We have 4 collection dates a year, I believe, where members of the community can donate their recyclables, and whatever we collect on those dates is matched by O'Brien's Market. And then they can also donate anytime throughout the year. They can take it to Modesto Junk, I believe, and just say that it's for the OB Green recycling program for the Awesome Spot. And so that's been a really cool program. Not only are we raising funds for the project with that program, but it's also giving us a chance, to get out there and talk about the project and talk about the playground. And a lot of people learn that day when they're dropping their recyclables off. They're like, well, what are you guys doing this for? Or I'll ask, like, do you know, what you're donating to? So it's a great way to, raise awareness for the project too.
Next one's October 20th.
Yes, October 20th, we'll be having another one. And it's pretty neat. They just drive up. We can help them with their things from the car. We sort it all. CRV. We do paper shredding, up to 5 boxes, banker's boxes of paper shredding, e-waste. So we kind of take it all.
At all?
Pretty
TVs.
much, yeah, pretty much. But it's fun, and it's a good way, like I said, to get people to know about the project, raise funds for the project.
So there are funds. How much are we trying to
Yes.
raise for this project? How expensive is this project?
The project is going to cost us about $2.5 million to build.
And where are we right now?
Currently, we're at 51%.
Wow.
Yes.
Halfway.
Halfway.
Yeah.
Now, is the city of Modesto involved?
Yes.
City of Modesto is involved, and they've been very supportive of the project from the beginning. They recently, as a city council, approved allocation of funds to the project as well. $370,000 is what the city has donated or allocated for the project moving forward.
Yeah.
And then, all right, so that's that part of halfway there. Where'd you get the rest of it? All from recycling, or have other people donated, or?
Oh, we've gotten tons of sponsors. We've had amazing people step up with support for the project. The county donated
$250,000.
$250,000. But yeah, so those were big donations that we recently just got that helped push us past that 50% mark. But before then, a lot of it was just amazing companies stepping forward, donating services, donating goods towards the project. Chad's been awesome at championing all these different companies and gathering them together, and what services can you donate? And
Because is that all? Okay, so it's $2.5 million. You said, right?
Correct.
So you're getting some of that in kind.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So that's part of that. Is in that $2.5 million. Right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's not all donation money. It's a combination of everyone's
'Cause,
efforts.
to design it is time.
Correct.
So how close are we for moving dirt to start this thing?
Well, we're hoping that we can do this the spring of 2020. That we can, if we have the funds in place, then we can start and build it. It'll take about 6 months to build. So if we could start in right as the rains end, that would be fantastic. But it's really contingent on if we can get the funds in place to do that.
So we're at 51% there. So we need what's that? $1 million.
1.2.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So everybody needs to get up and go to is there a place that people can just donate money through a website or anything else, or do they have to?
so they can send donations directly. We've partnered
where?
with Valley Mountain Regional Center
Okay.
in Modesto. They allowed us to come under their nonprofit umbrella, which gives us the nonprofit status for the project. So they can send donations directly to VMRC, and just note that it's for the Awesome Spot Playground. We have a website. It's theawesomespotplayground.com. Our website's amazing, designed by Chad. You can go on. You can just see what we've been up to, see what's coming up. You can do a virtual tour. It's like a flyover of the playground, and you can see all the pieces of equipment that we'll be having in the playground. It kind of goes into a little detail of, what inclusive playgrounds are all about, why we started this project in the first place. So our website's a really good tool if you want to learn more about the project.
You can also download a sponsorship magazine off of the website, or we have copies that we can hand out and whatnot as well. And that magazine gives all the details about the project and every possible way to donate to the project, whether it's a sponsorship or a naming sponsor, or anything that you can think of between $5 to $500,000 would be in that magazine for people to look at and see how they can help.
I kind of want to go back to the city. What is the Modesto Park Partner Program? Do you know anything about that? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great program that's been around for quite a few years now. That program was set in place because it had traditionally been very difficult for community members to be able to work with the city to get projects done. And so this partnership program was developed to help communities build in their own neighborhoods. And so that means that we can bring in our own contractors, we can raise our own money, and we can work with the city to get through all the red tape and to get permits and things like that. They become partners with the community to make these projects move smoothly and to truthfully find other ways of building them than have traditionally been used. So to date, there have been quite a few projects that we've used this partnership program on. The dog park there in downtown Modesto, the Virginia corridor, and that trail system was started through this process. I think this is probably the most exciting one for many of us, given the the time frame and the content of this project. But yeah, it's a great program that's being used all across the city.
Yeah, because the Virginia Corridor, I think our Rotary was involved with that one also during that period of time. Now, do you have Rotaries or Kiwanis or any other groups involved with this program?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah.
All of everybody in the community loves this project, and they've all been involved. We've spoken and presented to all of them pretty much, and so we love their support. The Lions clubs, the Rotary clubs, the Kiwanis clubs, they're all engaged. So
Good. So as an average homeowner, we talked about how do they normally get involved? Is it just what we were talking about earlier where they can donate and they can bring in e-waste, or is there other ways they can get involved?
Yeah, right now, I mean, we're still, like I said, in the fundraising stages, so raising awareness of the project. You know, a lot of people still, even like you, don't know about it until they come across it or someone brings it to their attention. So just talking about it and letting their neighbors know, like, hey, did you know what's coming in down the street? And then we love to talk to people about it too, just to kind of explain it better to them, because a lot of people don't know, like, what is an inclusive playground? What's the difference between an inclusive playground and a typical playground? And, Chad and I love to just get into it and explain that to them.
Let's stop right there and we'll pick it up when we
Sure.
come back from the break, okay? All right, so as a veteran myself, we're going to take a break, but I always like to give a shout out to a local business that is a veteran-owned business. And one I want to shout out to today is Kyle and Lyle Helton of Drain Masters. I had a plumbing issue this week, and they came right out and fixed it. Their number is 209-594-2074, and we'll talk to you when we get back. She didn't know I was going to do that.
Is that better?
Huh? Yeah, perfect. I don't know who the first person was, but this other guy is much better. That's exactly what we want.
We're chatting.
All right, I hit pretty much average homeowner. The only thing you kind of talked about corporations and businesses have got involved. You want to say how they, we'll hit that again. So, maybe not this segment, but before we go out, so people know again how to get involved. You can talk about your website again. And when you say anything, say it twice.
Okay.
Because people are writing it down and then they forget. Like if somebody wants to get a hold of you, is there a number for them to call? You say it twice.
Okay.
I should have said that twice, but that's okay. Do you want to go talk about the inclusive play, follow self and principles? Do you want to talk about that? I'm just going off. She just wrote some stuff on here. I don't have much. Because I went through all the talking points.
Chad did a good job about talking about the regional draw.
Yeah, that was really good.
I was going to chime in about.
You want to talk about your son?
Yeah.
All right, when we get back, and I'll say we'll go from here, and then we can bring up after that. We'll bring up about your TED Talk.
Okay.
And then
You should tell them to go watch it too.
yeah, well, when you're doing it, just say, okay, yeah, it was 2018. I think I was at that one.
Were you?
Yeah. I wasn't at the.
The one where
that
he
was
ripped his
last
clothes
year.
off?
Huh?
The one speaker ripped his clothes off,
Yeah.
and he was.
Well, I was at.
That is-
How many was there? There was
Yeah.
2 of them, right? We've had 2 TED.
Yeah, we had two.
I was at the first one.
Oh, it was the second one.
Yeah.
So this other one, he talking about wrestling and how wrestling involved it, or
Oh, gee.
was important in his life and forming him, and so he basically ripped his clothes off. He had them especially made so he could rip them off at the end, and he was in his wrestling garb.
outfit.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And then we had to follow that, right? So,
Right.
Jeez.
All right, so we'll come back, and so I'm saying, okay, we're back. Blah, blah, blah. Rachel, why was this so important for you? And then you can get into about your son and how that. Okay, does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll bring up, hey, I hear you did a TED Talk, and then we'll figure it out. Just the way we do it, just slow. And then this one again is 12 minutes, and then we'll have one more after this for 10 minutes. So it goes pretty fast
Yeah.
when you talk.
right.
When you stare at me and go, it doesn't go very fast. Then I'm going, shit. I said, well, I gotta come up with something.
We're like, ask me a question.
All right. Well,
12 minutes on this one.
kind of got that down.
Just your friendly reminder.
Thank you.
Get your serving size of Real Estate Jerky on Power Talk 1360 KFIV.
And we're back. I'm here with my guest. I'm your co-host, Ed Parcaut. I am the host. Used to be a co-host. Betsy's not here today. But my guest here today is Chad Kennedy. He is the Director of Landscape Architecture of Odell Engineering and co-founding board member of the Austin Spot Playground. And I'm here also with Rachel Loredo, who is the co-owner of Full Throttle Motorcycle Shop and founder of the Austin Spot Playground. Finally got that out.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. They try to keep she tries to put as many words together in one to see if I can do it. And I can't. Anyway, so Rachel, we were talking during the break, and I want to let our listeners know why this was so important to you.
Yeah, so my son Tommy is 11. He was born with a lot going on physically. Mentally, he's 120%. He's a crack up. If he was here, we'd be laughing the whole time. But, accessing the playground, basically accessing public spaces is a little more difficult for him. He uses a wheelchair to get around. And we had the opportunity to visit an inclusive playground in Palo Alto called the Magical Bridge. And that was being there that day and watching Tommy play and watching him play with his sister, and my husband and I kind of, got to play with them instead of being more on the caretaker level. Like, we got to just go play and not think about, like, how's Tommy going to get onto that, or who's going to lift him onto the swings, or who's going to lift him, onto the slide. He just got to go and be a kid, and it just opened my eyes to how awesome an inclusive playground really is for children, not just for children with special needs, but also for children that, can engage with children that they might not normally be able to. A lot of kids Tommy's age would just look at him like, who's that kid in a wheelchair? Why is he in a wheelchair? Now Tommy can go play with them, and then they have these little conversations amongst each other rather than, helicopter mom having to explain to them, like, why he's in a wheelchair. He'll just be like, that's how I was made, bro. Like, he'll just, on a kid level, explain, and then they just move on and they start playing together, and the able-bodied children just see right past the wheelchair, and they're like, this kid's cool. He does all the things I want to do, or he's interested in all the same things as me. So just seeing Tommy play that day and engage with other children on the playground and kind of just let him be a normal kid just, was an eye-opening experience for me. And that was why I was like, okay, I don't care how hard it's going to be. I just need to figure out how to do it. And that's what led me into the city Parks and Rec department one afternoon. And they probably all thought I was a little crazy because I was like, I'm going to raise $4 million and I'm going to build this playground. And at that time, that's what I thought it was going to cost us. But it was just, it's something that is really important to me now, especially, being a mom of a child with special needs and going through the therapies and meeting all the different families here in the Valley that would benefit from having something like this. It's completely out of the norm for me to have started something this huge because I was just at home, raising my family and dealing with, what people or parents with children with special needs deal with. So I'm sure, everybody's like, that's crazy. It's a major undertaking to start a project like this and see it through, but it's worth it. It's going to be amazing. And I can't wait to see Tommy and my kids playing together and with his friends playing on the playground.
I mean, that's how Modesto is, though. I mean, Modesto is all about giving and doing stuff that we give more and do more in this county than anywhere else. Yeah. I mean, I'm involved with a couple different other things, Make Dreams Real. I'm, Ride for Mom, a few other things that I won't name them all because they need to come on the show to get named, and they have. Yeah. But I'm just saying, we get involved because we want to give back.
Yeah,
and that's how our community is. So it's really nice to see somebody like yourself doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, someone told me, Chad, that you had a TED Talk. Is that correct? Were you on TED?
Yeah.
In Modesto?
Yeah, TEDx Modesto. That was quite the experience. Absolutely.
That was the second one, right?
That was the second annual one that they've done. Yes. Okay, so there's another one coming up again. Right. But yes, that was quite the experience, and the reason why I was on was part of that is because, again, going back in history a little bit, I early on in my career, I was introduced to the fact that there are people in our communities that are unable to recreate like like an able-bodied person would. And that was a bit eye-opening to me, similar to Rachel's discussion earlier. And so from that point on, I've kind of been a self-proclaimed advocate for persons with disabilities and barrier-free recreation, especially children, close to my heart. I have 3 of my own. So, and so I've kind of taken from that early on in my career as a mantra to try and design better, to be better at what we do, and think about the people who are around us. Sometimes we take things take advantage of things, or take things for granted, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. And so I've used that as a catalyst to be a better designer. And so last year when there was a call for talks for TED Talk, I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity to bring to light something that a lot of people aren't thinking about. And so I took advantage of that and used that platform to try and share with people what it is that that people outside of, that people, what just everybody's facing when they go out in the outdoor environment, right? And so 18 minutes is really hard to get a lot of conversation in, so I had to really refine it. But what I focused that conversation on was who can go to the park and what are the things that they're struggling with, and sensory processing disorders. You know, when you go to a park, what are the sensory issues that you're dealing with? Everybody, you know, we all have them. And just about every one of us at some point in life is going to have a disability, whether we break a leg or we have allergies or whether we just struggle with another physical disability. So everybody's going to be able to take advantage of a park or an outdoor environment like this. And so that's what I try to share with everybody, is it's not just about 1 or 2 people that you might not know. This is about everybody. This is about our society and our community.
So we'll get back to the Austin spot in a second, but let's go back to TED Talk. How did you get involved with that? How did they approach you? Did you talk to them?
There was a call for talks, or call for proposals, right? And so I prepared a short kind of a 1-page presentation on what it is, and then submitted that. And then they contacted me and said it was a great proposal. We're excited. It really goes along with the theme that they had that year, which was colorful, and which is meant for to highlight diversity in the community. And so it just fit right in there. And so 6 months later, there I was standing in front of a bunch of people trying to recite a talk, an 18-minute memorized talk.
Well, I'm
So
sure it went fast.
It did. It went very quick.
He did
like,
so good.
It's like radio. People realize how fast this goes. You know, we only have so much to talk, and with all the commercials and everything else, next thing you know, you're done, right? So how did you said through your work you came across people, you know, that certain people couldn't access certain thing. When did that happen to you? Was that really early in your career, or was that recently, or I mean, did you design playgrounds, or was it getting into buildings? I mean, what do you?
Yeah, it's kind of a fun story. When I was going through my master's program for landscape architecture, I was at Utah State University, and they had a course there. It was a year-long course that introduced students to the disability community, and brought together all different students from all different programs and put them together as a collaborative source, and then discussed and found ways to address some of these issues. And so I was also at the time working for the Utah State Extension Program, and that was through the Center for Persons with Disabilities. And so that was kind of a crucial time in my forming of my career, where I was able to just realize that things, there were issues people were dealing with out there that most of us weren't thinking about. And from that point on, I made it a challenge to whether people know it or not. I was going to make a difference through the design, and that's how I can most effectively impact the society, is through my talents as a designer. So, yeah,
because I think up to the point probably when you start, I mean, not many people thought about access for wheelchairs or access for other things, and you know, I know we have certain laws in California, certain things have to be certain depth than they think now, but you just don't think about it unless you're involved with somebody with that disability, and then you realize it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we say ADA is not really enough. When you think of like being ADA compliant,
Right,
it's just
understand.
like the bare minimum. So they say like tan bark on playgrounds is ADA compliant, but I've taken Tommy to playgrounds with tan bark and asked him, okay, go roll up, to the slide, and he gets stuck. So that's what is really awesome about Chad and all his knowledge about inclusive play spaces is that he was able to, make this playground that's amazing. It's more than ADA compliant. It's just super cool.
Now, I think I read somewhere you guys have a seven something disciplines or principles of design. There it is.
7 principles of design. Yeah.
I knew it was somewhere.
I worked with a gentleman, Keith Christensen at Utah State University, and he's the one that developed these concepts. And the 7 concepts are to be fair. So the playground should be fair and designed so that all kids can be included. And designed to be simple and intuitive so all kids can be smart. Designed with perceptible information where all kids can be independent. And designed to be tolerant of error so that everyone can be safe. And designed to require low sustained physical effort so all kids can be active. And designed with the appropriate size and space for approach and use so all kids can be comfortable. So these have nothing to do with access and
Right.
disabilities. These are just general principles that if we can hit all of those principles, then everyone is included. And it has nothing to do with abilities or disabilities. It's just people.
Gotcha. All right, we need to take another break. I know it's going fast. Hey, thank you for listening to Real Estate Jerky. We'll be right back after this break. Remember, you can listen to us 24/7 through any of our podcasts at iHeart.com. You can go to iTunes, Google Play. Remember, you can actually Google us, Real Estate Jerky, and you'll find us there. And remember, if you want to get a hold of us, you can dial #250, say the key phrase Real Estate Jerky. Again, it was #250, key phrase Real Estate Jerky, and you'll get to us. Talk to you when we get back.
We only got 10 minutes left.
I got a little long-winded there.
Well, no, I knew once I said that, I was like, okay, I wonder if we're going to make it.
Try to go through it quickly and
You're good. It was perfect. All right, so if I go through everything we have. All right, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. All right, what do you want? What's important to you for the next 10 minutes that you want to go back through and talk about?
I think we should make a plea for people to get involved, right?
Definitely.
So that'd be a good one.
Can I talk about the fence tickets? Because I feel like that's something that,
Wildlife fence sponsorship.
yes, that was just something that I've been thinking
Thanks.
about.
How are you?
Hey, anything we should add? We've hit everything in the thing.
Did I do okay with the OB
You did
green?
great.
So we need to
Great.
reiterate everything we talked about
So the
today.
fence tickets are gonna be 500?
Yeah, I've been all the whole time. Yeah. Rainbow
I
sponsors.
don't know
too.
why every time I saw that, I thought it was the actual like silhouette fencing.
No, I think
The only thing I haven't talked about, corporation and business is getting
well, it's
involved.
a big.
Yeah.
You think of those things?
Yeah, corporate things, getting involved that way.
Okay, so 500 for a picket?
And you know what? If you're gonna go back to the donating and the fundraising, which I wish you would, and you're gonna go touch on corporations and stuff, you can really bring it home about how great we've got lots of name names.
I was gonna say we should
Name
name our
names.
sponsors. though.
And
Slowly,
but there are some people that we don't have yet.
but don't name them out.
And don't name them, but say that.
There's so many companies out there.
There's so many that we
organizations.
haven't.
And they can get involved for this little amount.
Yes.
It's
So,
only $500,000.
Yes.
It's a steal.
yes, but
And what
you
do they
could
get for that?
They get a chance, they can
have
name
to-
it.
Yeah, they can
And then
name
they actually
the
name the park, so it no longer is the Awesome Spot
Have
Playground.
you guys got Kaiser?
No, it is. It's just the Kaiser.
It's the,
It's the
yeah.
Gallo. It's the
Valley
whatever it
Children's
is.
Hospital, it's the Gallo, it's the, yeah, and that opportunity still exists. So just be transparent at this wrapping it up, because you know how that is when you're listening or watching something. You're like, wait, it's almost over. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And because Ed's going to say that. This is our last segment, where, how fast it goes. And then just, we've got some great sponsors, but we could use so much more. Here's some of our sponsors. Name names.
Yeah.
Kick it back and forth, you guys.
Yeah, I'm just going to get back. I'll say, after I go through this long introduction, I'll say, how can more people get involved?
Long.
Yeah, co-founding board member of the. You good? Mm-hmm. All right. How long?
You have 9.5 minutes of show, 1 minute of close.
Only 9 minutes and 30 seconds. When you're ready.
Expert info you crave. Real Estate Jerky on Power Talk 1360 KFIV.
And we're back for our final segment of the show. I'm Ed Parcaut, your host, and I'm also the president of Lending for Living. And I'm here with my guest, Chad Kennedy. He is the director of landscape architecture of Odell Engineering, and he is the co-founding board member of the Awesome Spot Playground. And I'm also here with Rachel Loredo, who is the co-owner of Throttle Motorcycle Shop and founder of the Awesome Spot Playground. All right, guys, when we've been talking this whole time, how do people get involved? Businesses, corporations? Let's bring it back to that right now, and let's get people involved. How can they do it?
Yeah, so we need about 49% more of our funding.
So that's about 1.2 million.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Nothing. You're over halfway there, so you probably never thought you'd be there.
No, it's been hard fought, but just being here has been awesome. You know, knowing that we're at 50%. Or 51%, I should say.
All right, are there different levels to get involved for corporation or whatever, and who's currently involved? How about we start there? Chad?
Okay, well, yeah, there's lots of options. So I would suggest going to the website and downloading the sponsorship magazine, like I mentioned before. It's www.theawesomespotplayground.com.
So it's awesomespotplayground.com.
Yep, the awesome spot. You have to have the. Yeah. If you download or you can see it there, or download the sponsorship magazine, and you'll see what options there are. There are playground naming opportunities. So, for a mere $500,000, you can have your name on the playground. It's your playground, and then it goes down from there down to $250,000 or $250 for a rainbow sponsorship. So there's lots of options in between.
What's a rainbow sponsorship?
Rainbow sponsorship is you get your name on the website and in the park when it's done as a rainbow sponsor. And everywhere in between, there's also lots of pieces of equipment that we need to have sponsored, and those range from $6,000 up to $150,000 for the different types of equipment. So if you would like your name or your company's name on a piece of equipment in the playground, then you can select one of those from the magazine that hasn't already been sponsored, and you get your name in the playground and on the sponsorship board in the playground. Just like to highlight a couple of the companies that have been really supportive of us throughout this process. Sutter Health was one of our first to jump in and really support us with a big donation. Modesto Rotary, has had a similar support there. The Lions Club has been Sunset Lions Club has been really involved, and Stanislaus Senior Softball Association has been an amazing group. It goes all levels of organizations throughout the community. They've supported us with a couple of different checks, which has been awesome. And then other companies like MID and Society for Abilities. Lots of different companies that are supporting us.
I didn't hear Modesto Sunrise Rotary. They haven't done anything, right? Or have they?
Sunrise. No, Modesto Rotary.
Right. The reason I'm stating that is I'm calling out my Rotary for they need to get involved and they need to help out. So our new president should take care of that. Anyway, keep going. All right, now, did I hear when we were going through this something about pickets and fence or something?
Yeah.
What's that?
In the playground, we have the opportunity to name a fence picket. So it's $500 for that sponsorship. And you can get your business name, your family name, your pet's name. We've had a couple people do it in honor of someone who, might have passed on that would have enjoyed a playground like this. So that's something that we really want to push because it's an affordable sponsorship, and it helps us a lot, getting closer to the goal of being fully funded.
So it's like the bricks in the Virginia corridor, right? When people were able to put their name on the brick. So now you have a fence picket with your name on it. Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct.
I'm a little slow, so that's why I have to reiterate this stuff to make sure I understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, so those are $500.
There's other options too that
How
aren't
many fence
necessarily.
tickets are there? I'm sorry, that you're selling.
It's pretty unlimited.
Thousands? Or
Yeah,
what?
the fence goes all the way around the project, so there's more than enough for everybody that wants a fence picket. But I did also want to say that there's other options too. Like we've been talking about the OB Green project or the recycling effort, and so if you want to get involved from that side, we can bring a blue bin to your company or your organization and collect recyclables there, and
Now, are you talking recyclables? You're talking anywhere from, do you do plastic balls and cans?
all
or just
CRV stuff.
everything?
Yeah, those are all CRV for the blue bins.
For us who's not so educated, we just want to don't spell that out. Say
Sure.
what it is.
And at O'Brien's, they're actually selling reusable bags for the grocery bags. Right? They're all they're made of natural materials, jute and cotton, and they're selling those. And the proceeds from that are coming to the project as well. So O'Brien's has been a huge supporter of this project
My
as
company's
well.
name on one of those bags.
There you go. There you go.
We also have Awesome Spot T-shirts that we're selling. We have really cool water tumblers for the Awesome Spot that we're selling too.
Now, the T-shirts, are they just say Awesome Spot, or were they designed some way? So I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, they're just the Awesome Spot Playground T-shirts with our logo on them. Show your support, wear it around town. My mom loves wearing hers because then she just points to it like, have you heard of this project? And then, people will see your shirt and be like, what is that? It gives you opportunity to talk about it and raise awareness for the project.
Just get a bunch of kids with their hands and paint and put all over the backside of it.
That'd
And then there
be
you go.
cute.
And then have it screen printed.
Should probably give a shout out to Liberty Printing and Design for doing all of the
Yes.
logo and that kind of stuff for us.
They've been amazing.
Big supporter.
Yeah, they designed our logo, which we think is awesome. And we do say awesome a lot when we're talking about the project.
I wonder why.
I know. But yeah.
All right, so we got so we know how to get involved. If you want to get there, we know how to get there. Is there all right, I'm just trying to see whatever else we want to get into. We have about another 3 minutes or so.
Well, if I could just jump in and encourage everyone to go to the website to take a look at what this is going to be. We have graphics and imagery of what the project will actually look like. It's hard, like we're talking about on the radio, to really envision what's going on here and what these things really mean. This is not a typical playground. And with a little visual understanding of that, I think people really catch on to what it is. So if they go to the website, you can look at the different graphics and see what it's going to look like from an aerial view as well as from just 3D graphics that have been created to give you an idea of what it might look like. So you'll see the different components, whether it's a sensory wall that's designed specifically for the 8 sensory systems, not just 5 that we typically talk about. The different types of slides, the sensory nodes, and the areas where kids can go to kind of escape from all of that sensory input. The modern versions of slides and swings and merry-go-rounds. There's lots of cool stuff in here that that most people have never seen. So I really encourage people to take a look at the website and see what this is all about.
And not to be negative, but after hours, is this going to be closed up, or is it going to be open all the time?
It'll be a typical
Park.
typical public park. It will have security features that are enhanced to help protect it and to get people or police there.
You know what I
when
mean? Because
needed.
it sounds like a lot of money put involved in a park, and it's important.
Yes.
But to make sure that it stays there and doesn't get vandalized like we've seen things in the past.
And we get that question every time we present the project to anyone, like, what's security like? And one thing that we do like to tell people is that projects like this actually deflect, the riffraff, because they're so well used. You see families and just people there visiting the park all the time that they don't want to hang out where all the families are, so
Right.
it kind of deflects that, the bad people.
And now because I know Beyer High School, it's close to that. They have, a lot of kids with special needs and certain, so they'll probably be able to utilize it during the day if they're
Absolutely.
allowed to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're really excited about that aspect of the project too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know that Beyer High School has that, because my daughter went there. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hope that they will use it as well as, the other
That's okay.
schools in the area.
All right, so we got about 20 seconds. Anything else you want to say?
No, we just appreciate the opportunity to talk about the project. Visit the website, www.theawesomespotplayground.com. We have a Facebook, we have an Instagram. We try to stay on top of all of our upcoming events.
And you guys, really appreciate you being here, Chad and Rachel. Thank you today.
Thank you
so much.